and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and this might very well be the most advanced pattern making tutorial that I've ever done, and that's saying something considering this channel. So this is a big sheet of the graph paper that we usually work with. You can get it off my website, akaawol.com. This is the A4 size. It's essentially made up of this, right? So let's change that. Okay, so this, to make this turn into this, what you do is you go into Gimp here. This is the program we're using. You go into filters, you go into map, and then you go down here to tile, right? When you do that, this comes up. If you give this whatever number that's greater, okay, so this has been broken, right? So that's kind of important too. Break if this is linked, break that. Let's say we change this from 100 to 1100 and we change the height. We're just going to go small. We're going to go just 500, right? So that's 5 times the height. And I don't know how many times the thing. And we say, okay, boom, we get a bigger piece of graph paper. So you can size this to anything you want. If you're doing bracelets where like this, where you need a side to it because there was 2 strings coming in, you still have to have 2 strings coming out. There is this. And for this one, when you tile it, what you do is you only change the height. You don't change the width. And that'll give you your nice long version of that. And that's how you get a side on your for your patterns. Link the 2 things together, bada bing, bada boom, you have a pattern that you can work with. What we haven't had before is this one. This one's new. And this one is about when you're trying to make something that has a very flat, straight edge to it. And I don't know if you guys can see this. Like this is an example, or when I did the tin cans, right? That would be an example. And what I did was I made half hitches that went off of it, 2 half hitches. This would be one, this would be the other. And then those 2 make a knot. And then you go down a space and you do it again and you make a knot. And only by doing that, like if you added on one more string and just put a knot from this point downwards, it's going to start to go off like a regular bracelet, like a diamond, right? It's only by putting on 2 strings and make them a knot and then put on 2 more strings and make it a knot that you get this nice flat edge to it. That's kind of important for what we're doing here. So what I did was I took it and I made it nice and that piece nice and long. Okay. So what are we doing here? This is crazy, right? So this is the pattern and kind of pretty close to the colors that my Newtcraft wants to make a bag with. Now, there's some inherent problems that sort of come with this, and we're going to try to help her to understand what's coming and how to plan out the bag and give some options for this bag. So I've kind of gone ahead. I had problems with getting this pattern here to line up with the graph paper. There was a whole lot of using the scale tool and getting things to where it came in okay. So this was from when I got it sized, and this is sort of okay, but I needed to remove those things that were here on the sides because those don't count when you're joining several of these things together, right? So this is what we got. So Control C, and then we come over here and Control V. And it's taking a minute. There it goes. So yeah, some of these files, man, they're just huge. What Okay, so here, height we forward to bill. I guess for the starter part, we don't need all of it. Let's just do this for now. I don't know why that's still fixed, but okay. Control C. Come over here. Oops. Control V. All right, so we got a smaller chunk to work with. That's cool. We can move this over to the side. Yeah, see, this is making my computer go a little bit crazy. You have to bear with me here while I try to make this work. Oh my goodness. See, I want to get this way over to the side. Come on. Why is my computer doing like this is the worst I've seen my computer working. And I mean, yeah, I got a lot of tabs here for this. What the heck? Come on. It's not moving at all now. Are we still recording at least? Yes. I might have to cut some of this out. I have no idea what's going to happen here. Why is this being so difficult? All right, since we put it to a new layer, it actually works better. So that's interesting. I didn't know that was a thing. All right, let's shift this on top of the boxes. There we go. All right. So there's one. Let's do, so that's into a new layer. Can we Control V? Let's put that to a new layer as well. Seems to make it work better, right? Awesome. No, where heights are not matching. Da, 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 da. Are we on the boxes right? Not quite. I don't know why it's looking as sloppy as it is, but there it is. Okay, so there's those two things. We already have this piece in here. So yeah, we can move that to up here. So this is pretty much how she's going to start it. That's weird. So this is in the middle part here that I can still see it didn't cover up the one things. Can I, let's see if I go to this layer and I get the eraser tool. Cool. And I go to this layer there. So got rid of those two pieces. Yeah, so every time you join two patterns together, you end up with an extra row. And I don't think, in this case, any of this up here kind of counts really, right? Because you're not adding in more string. This string came from over here. Let's get our paint tool. This one came, oops, Control Z. Yikes. All right. Oh, because that's in the bottom graph paper. Okay. So that one came this way. This one over here was coming this way. You end up with this here. This one's coming this way. Comes down. It's over here, I guess. Right. So right, you have to, the gist is you have to work it out. Like, I don't want to go too far with this because of how um, that we're actually coloring the bottom graph paper. And if I have to change things around down there, that's going to be a thing. So, oh, so yeah, so where did these strings come from? This string now has come, are we in the right color? No. That one goes from there. The color from over here comes from there. Gotcha. Now, here's where things get a little bit weird. When if you try to join these two ends, you don't necessarily have, and this is, again, this is right, all we've done here so far is for this, right? This flat edge. The color that's on the right hand side, right? Like here we had the green, right, coming in to do this. So this is, I don't know, can you see that? It's really close to the thing. So it's this green right here that you need for one of the strings. And then on the other side, zip all the way across, is it ends with this red, really. Well, there's this green. So if the two colors are different because of the fact that, when you join these things together, if the two colors are different, what you have to do is you have to take, again, this is another reason why my bags all have doubled up strings, right? Is because first we're doing the half hitch onto the string across the top. But then that string across the top is two strands, right? And if we take it two different colors that we need maybe say green on one side and red on the other. We take a green string and we half hitch it with the red string. We can have that string be, green from this point to the right and red from that point to the left. And those are the kind of things you have to kind of work out in advance, because if you don't, you're just going to have a lot of troubles. So now this is just to have the flat one. But that same rule is going to apply. Let's go back to this, and let's say, grab our select tool here. Whoops. I grabbed the outer thing. Let's say you want to have a like a button flap to go over the top, right? You're gonna, well, it's going to be a little bit weird because, see, we're taking again from the top. You're going to have to work out the pattern upwards to get the colors to match up when these two things kind of come together here. You kind of want the right part of the pattern. In this case, we're not going to go to that much trouble. Control V to new layer. Get the moving tool. And we're going to say hypothetically this is where the thing is. Now we are going to go to this layer, grab, whoops, the eraser tool, make it bigger. And kind of wipe that out. So now, which layer are we at? This one. It's a little bit off and it's driving me crazy. Hang on. So unfortunately, in this case, we don't have the strings that would be running down this way, right? Like these things. But where are we? Over here. we know that they exist, and we know when these two pieces join that that's going to be that row that connects them is going to involve that. So you're going to make this part just like a regular bracelet, and then you have to find where these two pieces are going to come together and find the string that's here that was on your bracelet portion of it, and find which colors are going to come into the knot that actually joins those two things. And you're going to make this string here be the right color to come into it. And, then this one plays into, and that's how you get those two things to mash up. And then here's where it gets crazier still, is you maybe, let's Control C, Control V. Then with that same, okay, so this, let's put that to a layer. All right. So in this version, you've got the diamondy shape, so now you can have a nice loop on the end of it, and then that loop can go to a button on the other side. So instead of like you put your thing in here and it can just, like a phone or whatever, and it just slides out, now you have something to put a button to it, right? But maybe you don't want to have a button. Maybe you just kind of, or maybe you want to have more than one button, or like a larger flap that goes over it. And I don't know, at that point you could do Velcros, you could do whatever you want. But matching up your pattern, make it go higher, and then you can have it have that nice sort of squared off top as well up here. In this case, whoops, not bucket. I keep grabbing the bucket instead of thing. It's sort of like that one string kind of comes over and it comes down. Right? So, but that's how you have a flat, sort of a flap to go over top of the whole thing. Ideally, in all of this, you sort of work out the overall graph paper. You don't technically have to go this tall with it at all, right? Because you're just trying to work out how to start the bracelet, how to get things going. After that, you can go refer to another pattern. You could even just look at this pattern, I'm sure, and pretty much figure out what you're doing. It's about getting this top part started. Typically, with all the bags that I've done, when I've done the various, kinds of flaps on them and everything else, it was always about nailing down this part of the beginning of it. So, is this really helpful? Yes, absolutely. You might have to watch a few times. You might have to try to work it out yourself. You might have to try doing, I don't know. I'm having obviously trouble with my computer, not having quite the capacity I would like to be able to do this. Also, mind you, like, this thing is a really huge document. The size of it is ginormous, so that probably has a lot to do with it as well. But this should get you started pretty much on any bag that you want to make. These pieces will be available on the website that'll be linked to this video, so that way you can build to whichever sizes, shapes, and stuff that you want to. I really think this should pretty much answer any of the questions on how to get it kind of going. If you have questions, let me know, and hopefully I can answer them, because yeah, like I said, I've done this a number of times. This is the method I use, so hopefully that works. All right. Thanks, guys, for watching this long. I really appreciate it. Thank you to my Patreon supporters who make this possible. Thank you to Minutecraft for challenging me to try to make something like this for everybody. while kind of answering her questions. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.